Welcome to Crest in partnership with Elusive, and actually, welcome also to the Grumpy Surfer podcast and the Pagans channel. This is producer Dodd of Crest, but this week we're pushing the button on a three-way crossover episode. There's no room for rivalries in surf podcasting, only friendships and allegiances. So to celebrate that, we've teamed up this time to make a joint episode, which will be going out on all three of the participants' platforms. For this chat between Tom and Rhino from Crest, adds Lison, also known as the Grumpy Surfer, and the Pagans, Pat Langdon-Dark, Logan, Nicol and Callum Thomas, we've chosen a range of topics, but the focus is generally on the international pro surfing scene and the ways which you up-and-coming surfers from these shores can find a place in that world. There's some great insight into what makes the Pagans tick, and as usual, Ads has thrown in some great words of wisdom himself. Before we start, can I just alert you to what's going to happen in terms of Crest episodes after today? We've gone and picked up one more bonus guest for November the 1st, as Rhino, Rob and I found ourselves at The Wave in Bristol with Gabriel Davis last week, an opportunity not to be missed. After that, we're finishing Season 2 with a video edition interview with another all-time Welsh legend. Between now and the end of the season, though, we're also going to release a single. Yes, you heard me right. By popular demand, we are putting the finishing touches to the full-length version of our main theme tune, Punks of Harlech, which will be available on iTunes and Spotify. So when that comes out, if you could like, share, subscribe, and add it to various playlists to help us out, that would be much appreciated. Details to follow. However, for this episode, we've re-recorded the usual Crest theme as an homage to the Grumpy Surfer. Enjoy!
Welcome to the Grumpy Surfer podcast and the Crest podcast. And I've been waiting to say this for a long time. In paid partnership with Elusive. How are we, lads? We all right?
All good.
All good. Okay, I've got three questions that I'm going to start everything off with. We're going straight into the deep end. So the three questions are to you, Pat.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. You?
Very good, mate. Have you surfed today?
Yeah, after work, had a quick surf at a local reef. Wasn't great, but I was on my own.
Yeah. And what have you done today?
Just been in work. That's about it.
Is that about it?
yeah.
Really elaborated on that, didn't you?
Sorry.
Logan?
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
What have you done today?
Actually spent a lot of time with my family today, which is really nice, yeah. Didn't surf.
No.
Just I knew your next question.
Alright, big fun, isn't it?
Didn't surf.
Go with Rhino?
Hey Ads, yeah, good day today. Busy one. Getting prepared for tomorrow's podcast with a special guest, and if I can say who it is. Yeah. So tomorrow we're up at the Wave in Bristol with Gabe Davis. So been reading through a couple of scripts, and looking forward to that tomorrow with presenting it with Rob Blythe.
Nice.
So looking forward to that.
Another session at the Wave?
Yes, indeed. We're booked in for 5 o'clock. Producer Dodd is here with us, and he's going to be on with us, Gabe, Rob, myself, and we're going to be surfing the advanced setting on the right. So, look out, Bristol.
Not losing.
I certainly hope so, otherwise I'm in trouble if we're anything worse.
Yeah.
Not losing any more fins then, no?
Hopefully not. I'll have to go and look for my other one, which I lost last time. So
just go to the lost and found box, apparently.
It should be in there by now. It's been long enough.
Tom?
Oh, I'm stood behind the mic. Right, I have to just come in. So what have I been doing today? I've been in teaching today. Yeah, and then waiting for you guys to come around and making a birthday cake for Ads.
Well, going to the shop.
You didn't make that.
No, I got it from the shop, and it was a pound.
I have to say, considering you do a podcast, you're leaning over these microphones like you've never done this before, which is quite appealing. And then I'm going to try and get this right. It's Callum. Same three questions to you. So how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
What have you been doing today?
Working.
And have you surfed today?
I haven't surfed today. I got home a bit late and then found out Pat went.
What about the swell that's just been recently running over the last few days and over the weekend, lads? Have we got in there or what?
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Surfed a little secret little spot in Swansea first thing, and then spent the rest of the day in Aberafon, which was pretty pumping. Didn't like the drop in tide, but it was real good.
Yeah. Callum, what about you?
Yeah, I surfed Aberravon with Pat, and then I surfed one of the beaches around by here. Got 2 good barrels, but the water made me feel it the next couple of days. I've been drinking cans of Coke on tap since.
Yeah, I was going to say, top tip with that is just drinking loads of cans of Coke. I did a bit of a kayaking thing a while back, and one of the guys said to me, so you don't get Wales disease, just drink loads of Coke so it washes you all out.
What's Wales
I
disease?
thought that was. I was wondering whether that was a real thing, but apparently it is, isn't it?
Yeah, because
Like-
you can get super ill from it. It's when rats piss into the rivers.
Right.
And like if you've got canals and stuff like that, they don't go anywhere, so it's quite stagnant.
You've been in Aberravon, Cal, so.
And
Iron stomach.
stop licking toilet seats, that's all I can say. Logan, what about yourself, mate? Did you surf over the weekend?
Yes, I managed to actually went down your way, surfed Croyd on Friday, just pumping out a full day of it, and then spent the rest of the weekend renting foamies to people who were watching other people have fun, which is really good. It's like surfing just boomed at the minute, and it's still, the beach is so busy still. So yeah, didn't really surf much over the weekend. I just worked, so that's alright. I get in enough.
The big man, Rhino, what about yourself, dude?
So I didn't get in over the weekend because I sort of did my back in slightly, but I did surf on Saturday, and I surfed in Rest Bay, which was pretty good. It was the beginning. It was pretty much the biggest day of the hurricane swell, Sam, wasn't it?
That was Friday, man.
Yeah.
Was it?
What time did it? Yeah, Friday. So I surfed in Rest Bay. It was solid, and they were filming Casualty down there, and I heard today that I might be on Casualty. So that was, apparently there was one of the waves that I caught at high tide. They managed to get, and you said you might have seen it. So I look forward to seeing that anyway. So.
You get paid for it?
Yeah, I'll have to go and see them.
Well, you get some royalties from it anyway.
Hopefully, actually, by the performance I put in, I'll have to be paying them for sure. But no, it was good. It was a good swell. It was a really good swell.
Don't think anyone did much work Friday.
That's the main thing though, really, isn't it? I mean, like when those sort of swells come through, I think everybody that, who's half a man themselves that surfs just gets in the water. And I know pretty much, I work, 10 minutes from the beach from Croyd and Saunton, and as soon as anything comes through, pretty much everyone knows that if I'm not answering the phone or on the computer or in the gym, I'm in the water somewhere. I'm not telling them where I'm going either.
But the thing is, that swell was on Magic Seaweed for about a week before, at least 5 days for sure. And because I surfed a week, and I remember Brad Hocker saying, he goes, have you seen the swell for next Friday? It's like, it's ages away.
Yeah.
And it was like, but
I never looked that far because I'm like, it's going to change.
Yeah.
The wind's going to go onshore or something.
But it was pretty much bang on, that swell, wasn't it?
The only shame was the big tides.
Yeah, that really killed it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there's another big one coming through in the end of next week as well. It looks promising, but the winds are quite westerly.
I was going to say a bit of wind swell to it, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's good
find those little secret spots, I reckon.
Yeah, well, Langland.
Super secret.
Lovely in the garden.
Super secret spot.
Yeah.
Bring your dry ropes.
Yeah.
I think that moves us on to talk a little bit about, me and Tom have had the chat, haven't we? And we were going to have a little chat about the WSL finals and the CT and the Challenger Series. What were we saying, Tom?
Oh yeah, right. Me and Rhino are swapping the chair over because Rhino's got to go and get his game thing ready. Yeah, we talk about that. I wanted to ask you before that though, because we did just have. I mentioned we had some birthday cake. You've had a big birthday, ads?
Yeah, I was 40 on Saturday.
Oh, happy birthday, Pembroke happiness.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Even though it's a milestone birthday for a lot of people, it's the same as any birthday. You never really feel different about it.
It's just a number.
The way I see it is, I can still beat up half the people that are in my unit. I'm still fitter than 90% of the people in the Royal Marines, so I can't argue with that. It's the way I see it.
I'm not arguing with you.
So that was a big claim I put out there, so I don't want people to come to smash me, alright? It's a figure of speech.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you about before we talked about that WSL thing was you've just been on a trip to Guam. So there's all of us I know these boys have been on these holidays. They call it the WQS, we call it holidays. But you've been out in Guam, and that just suddenly came out of nowhere. So from being home for 2 years, and then it's like Guam.
Yeah, so I was. I didn't think I would get another surf trip out of being in the Marines, because I leave next year. My 22 years is up, so I leave in May, but my terminal leaves in February. So I didn't think I'd get another surf trip out of the Navy. And I was on my summer leave in over August, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine that helps run adventure training for the Navy, and he basically said, "Do you want to come out and do some surf coaching in Guam?" And I was like, "I'll chat with the missus," and she was like, "That, yep, go, brilliant." And then one of the lads that I've been a surf coach with now for about 20 years, he got onto it too. So yeah, within the space of 4 weeks of being asked, we were at the airport of Bristol, good to go.
Wow.
Which was quite eventful to get out there, because it took us 2.5 days to get there in the end.
Yeah, because you got diverted, and then that bit blew me away. It was like one of your flights had gone wrong, or you'd had the COVID passes had gone wrong or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we got to Bristol, and we were going to fly to South Korea originally, but they said that our visas were wrong. They weren't, but somewhere along the process it got lost in translation, so we couldn't get on the flight. So we ended up getting into a hotel in Bristol, and then we had to get on a flight at 6 o'clock the next morning, otherwise our PCR test would run out.
Right.
So we had some military cards, all the guys that were high ranking that were in our group.
If you get a travel going wrong right now, listen to this. What happens when you're in the military?
Yeah. So basically they got onto the phone, made some phone calls down in a place called Tamaraire in Portsmouth. And they bought us all brand new flights that night for 10 of us, which cost 33 grand. So we flew at 6 o'clock the following morning. We were still in the airport at 8 o'clock that night.
So the PCRs don't run out.
Yeah,
they
so
have to leave Britain by 6 a.m.
So
Did you get more PCRs?
Why you just go get more PCRs?
You could have bought like
So
3 days.
the whole point of this trip was the Carrier Strike Group, which has got the Queen Elizabeth and HMS Defender, HMS Kent, and a load of other shipping. Is over on the eastern seaboard by China, and it's going across the Pacific towards the western seaboard of America. So when they stop off at different places, they ask if they can do something, to get off ship, so they don't get pissed up and smash the towns that they're on up. Yeah. They want to do something different. So that's where the AT stuff came in. So we got asked to go and provide surfing out in Guam, which gave us basically, once we got there, we had like about a day to go and recce some areas, and there was only one beach on the whole of the island, which was a sand beach that faced out towards the Pacific that you could actually coach on, because everywhere else is covered with reef and real sharp coral reef too. So yeah, that's how the trip came about.
The soldiers have got to surf.
Yeah,
that's amazing, isn't it?
That's mental.
Charlie don't surf.
That's what Carlos Munoz needed to do when he needed to get to that big shot. Right. He needed to say, right, bring the military up. Oh yeah, so anyway, CT we were going to talk about then, wasn't it? And the changes to it. Are they even called? We'll have to check with you guys. Is it even called the CT, the QS anymore now?
Still called the men's championship tour. Still called
championship
CT.
tour, women's championship tour, and then finals.
The only thing that's different is the 10,000s. They're not 10,000s. They're Challenger Series. CSs.
CSs, and then the bit before the Challenger Series is now just the
regional
QSs. Yeah. So we thought we'd do like, since we got you guys here, we're going to do like a sort of
the nerds
round. Yeah, we got the nerds with us, and we're going to do a bit of a roundup of like what we make of the international season. But then the aim is to sort of seg into asking you guys about like where you sort of fit into it all, and where you're going from there. So first of all, then what do we think of the change in formula this year? Shall I go first?
The finals or next year's proposal?
This year's proposal, as it ran this year with the finals, and then you can tell us about next year's proposal after that then, Pat.
Sorry.
Right, Scott, what did we think of it?
Sick. I thought they did so well, considering we were all stuck, some of us still in lockdown when they had events on. I thought they did really well to like get a tour going. Wasn't like the usual tour, was it?
Yeah.
And then I actually really liked the finals as well. I thought the WSL finals went really well.
Did you?
Don't know about anyone else, but I was gripped to the TV the whole day.
Right.
So I thought it was sick.
I enjoyed the whole tour. I enjoyed watching the Australian leg especially. I thought that it mixed up, bringing out other surfers that wouldn't normally do that well.
Do you mean like Morgan Sibilich or?
Yeah, Connor Coffin I was kind of glued to
Right.
watching a lot of it, even though people call him boring.
Yeah.
He kind of showed like in beach breaks that he was pretty good. And then I thought the finals were epic. I was glued, like Logan said, to the laptop the whole time.
Yeah. Me and Ads, we've been debating it a bit, haven't we? You were quite into the W. I'm a bit critical of the idea of it, but what were you saying, Ads? You were quite into the idea of the.
I thought it was good. I think if they should really try and run it like. Do any of you watch the NRL? So the National Rugby League in Australia. So the way that they do it is they have a whole season, and then when they get to the very end of the season, whoever comes top of the league then gets a trophy, so they are the league winners. But then the top 6 then go through and do a finals, like the WSL finals. So there is a end of tour, so there would be a end of tour winner, like, you know, Gabriel Medina came top, didn't he? So he would have got the winner's trophy, but then they would have all gone through into like a playoff, so to speak, with a ultimate, you know, an ultimate winner at the end. But I think
who's the world champion then? The winner of the tournament at the end, or the winner of the?
So the world champion would be the winner of the tournament, but the league winner.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
the tour winner. Almost,
would be like the tour winner.
Yeah.
I think everyone was really happy this year because Gabby and Carissa won.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If it had been...
Yeah, say like Morgan Sibilich somehow went through that draw and won, it would be like...
Tatiana Weston went, and Morgan
and
Sibilich
I really wanted Tatiana to win, but...
Yeah.
I just think,
I
it would
wanted
have...
Sally Fitzgibbons and Felipe Toledo to win, because the first thing I saw at the start of the year when they announced that plan, I was like, right, so you basically put in 2 guys who can't win a world title because they bottle it, Toledo and
and that's what I think.
And you're giving them their favourite wave of the tour, and they've got to win 1 comp to be world champion. And Toledo nearly did it, didn't he?
Yeah. I feel like I really like Toledo, but I just don't think he like woke up that morning and was ready to deal with the pressure of like, if you beat Gabby today, you're world champion. Like, Gabby's just got a way of dealing with that.
Well, he had 2 years ago. It was, if you beat Kanoa Igarashi today, you've got to, in Portugal, you've got to get through like 1 round at pipe to be world champion. He blew that, didn't he? Then didn't get through the 1 round anyway. Years before, he had to get through only a tiny bit in pipe another time. It's like, I think he's got to do something different, doesn't he?
Yeah. He looked against Italo like he was not going to fall against Italo. He looked amazing. Gabby in the first round, I reckon he looked amazing. And I thought, like, some of the scores, I thought Philippe was getting a little bit, like, kind of harshly scored. Like, Gabby's back foot was really high compared to the one he fell on the air reverse at the end. But in the last match, was it called? Game?
I think they
like
were
the last
called matches.
Yeah, the last match. He he was going for a lot of punts and like kind of like he was falling and he just didn't look like he had the same
rhythm.
Mindset. Like he wasn't gonna fall. Like he kind of looked like he was beaten by Gabby.
Do you know what I think he needs to do? This is a tough thing to do, but if you look like Serena Williams did it, whoever else, he needs, unfortunately, to say to his dad,
"Bye.
You've been great, but you're not my coach anymore," and he needs to get one of the top
Gabby
coaches
did
in the world.
it.
He has kind of.
Tyson Theory did it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are.
He did kind of do it for
Producer
half.
Dodd's got his
He did
boxing
do it for
background.
most of the. He did it for most of the year though, because his dad didn't go to Oz and stuff.
But who was coaching Toledo then?
Yeah, but at Trestles he was.
Right. Oh, so
Yeah.
His dad was
Ricardo
there,
Toledo was
Yeah.
there at Trestles.
but then he's coached Philippe to like win Trestles too. So you kind of like, well,
He's got another
look back
coach.
winning formula.
He's got another coach now though. He works with the guy. Can't remember his name. Who like discovered Italo and stuff. The guy that used to work for Oakley, and he basically coaches half of the Brazilian store now.
Does he?
Yeah. Works for like the Chianco brothers and stuff.
How important is now in modern pro surfing the role of the coach? Do you guys think? Like when you guys are at an event where you've got someone on the beach doing, getting that coach down there the day before, getting them to do, like, if you make the comparison, producer Dodd's mentioning boxing, right? But just over the road here when they had the Open Masters, right? Like, you know George Schofield, don't you? You know, does our artwork. He was playing there, and he said the week before the tournament, the course was covered in caddies, just going around it with notebooks, playing 18 holes every day with notebooks, and the caddy in golf is everything to when these guys can go, and these guys can then rock up, play one practice round, and then the next day they'll compete, and they'll put in one of the best rounds you've ever seen here, and that's what Bernard Langer did in that event. Now, in modern surfing, is that what the coach does? Like Llewellyn Whitaker, when we had him on earlier this year, he was telling us about being out there, you know, like mapping that wave in El Salvador, you know, doing Leon Glatz's work for him and all that. Is that...
I think, for me anyway, well, I feel like once it gets to the contest, they're just like they're like your like soundboard, and they take, all you have to worry about them when you've got a coach is turning up and performing. Like, so it's not always, you're not worried about when you're at the event, oh, you need to do your turns like this and do your turns like that. I feel like for me, the coach is more important for improving my surfing. But if you can have a coach at an event, I just think it helps massively, because they just sort everything out, and all you've got to do is just turn up and go, the waves are there, I'm going to paddle out there before.
You come on here now, right? It's the Radio 4 of surfing on the Crest half of this couch. This side, you're the, what would you be with radio? You'd be BF. What's it called? The Armed Forces. The BFPS of surfing. And or you'd be 5 Live, you'd be, wouldn't you? Sort of like
I don't know. I was some like pirate radio station off the coast of Penzance.
Going to ask you a proper hard news night question here now about yourself. Now, you got an interference in Costa de Caparica earlier this year.
Yeah.
Would that have happened if you'd had a coach on the beach calling you around, pointing out, like you had a mix-up, didn't you, over like who was in priority and what colours?
Yeah.
You did. We all told him, don't get an interference.
Yeah, I knew not to get, because they were being fussy with them, because it was small.
Yeah.
But that one was hectic.
Yeah.
But maybe not that, but I certainly could have got better results with a coach, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was with Joel Gray in France, and I felt really confident before it got cancelled.
Yeah. Okay.
Just, it's nice sometimes as well having someone, when you've got your mates, but when I've done them on my own, you don't have anyone going like, whoa, you look good even compared to the rest of the pack, you know?
Okay.
Just giving you that little bit of
confidence.
Just
So
like,
here's a question to all of you, because I'm quite interested in this myself. So I mean, we talked about this earlier, which kind of leads into the Olympics as well, is funding for you guys to have surf coaches, and because you know you're at that verge of being on the highest level in the UK. Is there enough funding stream coming through, or do you think there will be in the future to be able to, like the Aussies for instance, they have surfing programs where they've got all their pros, and you know they've got strength and conditioning coaches, and everything's basically paid for them because we're through their sponsorship. Do you think something that's likely to going to happen to us, or do you feel that's something that you would like as, you know, progressing towards that professionalism?
Definitely, there's like a massive lack of like funding. I don't know whether it's because we're, you know, it's like relatively like new sport to like Olympics and stuff, but like there's been a lot of like promises and a lot of talk, but and like, oh yeah, we're gonna get it, but definitely for me and Pat, it's like, well, we're here right now trying our absolute hardest to fund this thing, and just feel sometimes like, oh, nothing's getting done. But for us, it's a lot of like self-funding. So working at a surf school, we flip sofas with his dad, you know, like, and then doing those cheesy Instagram posts and stuff. Like, it's just what you got to do to be able to fund like the thing we're passionate about, you know. So definitely at the minute, it's more like ourselves that are funding it. But it'd be nice if maybe like governing body or like Sport Wales, if there is money there, like. Be great to see it at some point.
There's more whispers now because of the Olympics.
Definitely more talk about it, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Haven't seen any of it, but there's more whispers.
So here's another question, and this is no strike on you guys at all. If there are people in the UK that start performing at a high level without surf coaches and the ultimate sponsorship that's pushing funding behind you, do you feel that might actually influence you being able to get to that level, or does it take somebody like Sky Brown, who is a UK surfer stroke skateboarder performing in the next Olympics, to advertise the UK as like a surfing superpower to be able to put you guys on the map to an extent?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, they always talk about like for lots of funding to get going, they need to be like, oh, are we going to get a medal? Like that's the thing, I think. And it's kind of like, well, just because we might not get a medal in the next Olympics, you know, if you never give the funding, you're never going to get any medals. So I'm not really sure how it works.
When do you start the program?
Yeah, when do you start that program and like who do you include in it? Sky Ground would be great, wouldn't it? But yeah, I'm not really sure how it works. But
I feel it is a bit of a catch-22 situation with it all, regardless whether you're Scottish, Irish, English, or Welsh. You're going to have to a certain extent, fund yourself around the world to be able to do that. I mean, a friend of mine who I've done a podcast before, Chris Sherrington, you know, he went to the Olympics. He's a Commonwealth gold medalist in judo, but he basically funds himself around the world to perform at that high level. You know, you're not talking a few £1,000s, you're talking tens of thousands of pounds to go to Russia, to go to...
Yeah, for sure.
To a certain extent, though, it's an investment, isn't it? Because, you know, Rhino, you know, he's just sat back from the sofa, he's still in the room with us, you know, Rhino's competitive career probably is one of the reasons why his career, you know, in distribution and repping has been successful. It's because he's got, like, you know, fought for those couple of years to get that sort of image and personality in place. And I suppose to a certain extent, it's like, you guys make a good fist of this. If you want surf schools with your names on the side of them, if you want, you know, like open up a local bar on a beach somewhere, you know, or, you know, you can open businesses and people are interested in it because they want to be around guys who are like an ex-pro, and you kind of, you know, it is a sort of an investment in what you do from there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, you just like...
Would you agree with that, Rhino? I'm gonna swap the chair and let Rhino speak a second.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, I mean, where I was at your age, I think my headspace was a little bit different in terms of the goals that I had. I think that I wanted to perhaps head to like the Welsh British team, and then, like, I think we spoke about this before, my goals kind of ended there, and my aspirations didn't really stretch to if there was an Olympics. I don't think I really would have at that point. To be honest, I didn't think I was good enough, but obviously with you guys, with the coaching and everything, that you've got like that self-belief to really sort of to push you know. Is that like, have you got like, the one thing I always, because I'm watching you guys as everybody is on your Instagram and stuff, like what is like in terms of like your long-term goal, like where are you at with it?
Go on, Logan, you go first. You're looking around at everyone else, you go first, son.
I don't know, for me, like, I'm not in it to like, there's so many easier ways to make a load of money. Could have gone to uni and like got a good degree and made loads of money. So it's definitely not making money. It's just like, I want to be the best possible surfer I can be. I do have like very specific goals, but like an overall goal, just be like literally just finish my surfing career and think, right, I gave that my absolute all.
Yeah.
I wasn't out partying every weekend. I literally was like trying my hardest, and then whatever happens when you try hardest, you know, I'd be pretty happy with.
What is the very specific goal? Or you're not allowed to say it.
I can say it, just like most people would have laughed at me if I said when I was younger that I'd been a Welsh, but
exactly.
my main goals are, I'd love to win a QS, that'd be like a big one, and to make the Challenger Series. Obviously, once you then get those goals, try not to like try not to stop.
Yeah.
You then reassess your goals, but my goals at the minute, they're my two really big ones that I'd like to achieve for sure.
Callum?
My goals are a lot smaller than Logan's and Pat's, but mine is to win a Welsh title. So I got hopefully a few years left. Well, I'm really young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got plenty of time there.
Plenty of time, but yeah, that is my only goal in surfing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Come on, Pat, lay it on us.
Yeah,
Come
deep
on,
this
son.
podcast now, isn't it? Goal setting.
Yeah. I feel like I'm training. Yeah, my main goal, well, they're pretty similar to Logan, to be honest, but to win a QS at right now, that's all my focus, and to get into the top 10 in Europe so I can go on the Challenger Series. That's where most of my motivation when I wake up in the morning is. And then one of my main goals, it's really kind of awkward saying, but my main goal is, not my main goal, but one of my main goals is just, I want to be the best British surfer, like the most successful, you know? That's just, I don't know where I got that goal from, but it's just always something I write down on my wall.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But talking about the Challenger Series, and what's the series called before the Challenger Series? Is it kind of...
I think it's literally just called regionals now,
Yeah.
So let's talk about the
regional
regionals
QS.
first. Yeah, so what's the thoughts on that? Because you have to be in, is it the top
10.
10?
10 in
yeah,
Europe,
and
yeah.
then you get loaded onto the Challenger Series, and then it's 10 people from each of the separate regions.
It's pretty. I really like that format, and for people like me and Pat who like have to fund it ourselves, it makes it so much more simple. You just go to your regionals, you go to Europe, which is cheap, you know, because before we'd be looking at like, oh, you could do this $1,000 and go to Israel or wherever. And it's just so much easier now.
It was scary before as well, wasn't it?
So scary.
Like you'd go from doing the UK Pro and thinking, oh, I'm pretty good on the UK Pro, to I want to start doing the QS, and you sort of looked at it and went, well, how do I go there? Do I?
Which event do you pick?
Yeah, and you were just we were just like, whoa, this is kind of hectic. But now it's like, I can work and train, and then I can go to Europe, and then hopefully get in the top 10, and then
clear path.
yeah, it's just like a nice, like, you know, like
Structure.
football, you go to League 1, League 2, Championship, you know? It's like, it seems way more, in your head you can like justify, right, I'm going to give myself 3 years to get there, and 3 years to get there, 2 years.
Yeah.
I got a bit of a theory, right? I stand by. You know, obviously, both in my day job and my night job, you know, I think about all of these things a lot, you know, and acquisition, skill, learning, and things like that. And I've always believed that there isn't really any such thing as like just a raw talent. Obviously, like I understand that, you know, a 4 foot tall guy is never going to slam dunk, or that a 10 foot tall guy is not necessarily going to surf a 1 foot wave. But really within that, I don't really believe in talent, and I think that like there's only one thing anyone needs to be good at, and that's learning. And if you're good at learning, you'll get good at what you're passionate about and what you enjoy doing, right? So you boys are obviously very good at learning, and then being good at learning, I think, is just down to one simple thing, and it's being able to honestly reflect on what you're doing and what the next step up is doing.
Yeah.
What's the gap, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you another deep question here now, right? Both of you talking about going on to the European regional QSs, right? You've been on them this year. What is the gap, like in your surfing then, Pat, right? Because we see you on day to day and you're a fabulous surfer, same Logan, same for you, Cal, right? What is, for you, what is the bit of your surfing that the guys beating you this year had that you didn't, and that you're going to have next year on that QS?
I feel like the QS is everything, like your surfing, your decision making, everything. But for me, the biggest thing I've worked on is just like being more like flowier, but just like linking major turns. You watch the top guys, and say for someone like Ramsey, you can basically put him in anywhere and he's going to find a way where he's going to do he's going to do 2 majors and get, say, a 7.5, and he can do that twice in 20 minutes pretty much anywhere you put him. And for me, I've just worked on being slightly more like top to bottom, and just being able to find that wave where I link 2 major maneuvers, sort of in like being adaptable in all them conditions. I feel like if I was in, say, I don't know, like maybe like a close to shore wave where I could do like quick big backhand turns or go left and do a big air, I know I could hold my own. But being adaptable to, say, Portugal, where it's big and onshore and difficult, like, and just being able to get 12 points plus in every condition.
I love the way that if people were videoing this and you could see the visuals, you were painting the picture with your hands. I was like that, fingers in barrels and then doing this video. So that's amazing. I can see it now.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's the way he's got his tracky bottoms on and his woolly hat and all that, right? I if someone was filming it, this would be one of those little old bits of footage that, like, when they make, instead of the documentary, like the Pat-documentary, they'd stick it on as like, here he is, like sitting on the sofa, scratching his nuts and going, yeah.
Hush.
Cool.
Callum, next one.
For me to work on my surfing, I've been trying to just look at these two, to be honest, because they've matured so fast. especially the past like 18 months. Like Pat's for his size is incredibly powerful and fast, and I've just been trying to like work on how like I would do a turn at any speed of that is crazy. And then looking at Logan's turns, like he links a lot of turns really well, and trying to use that in it as well. So it's two good guys to use in my own surfing.
Just watching Connor Coffin.
Yeah.
What do you want from your surfing, then?
If I come out the water happy and I know I've done a few good whacks, I'm pretty happy. If I get barreled, I'm even happier.
Easily, please.
You've been described as one of the most barreled men in the Gower, Cal. A few times I've been told.
Biggest
this.
frother.
GTH.
Yeah, I have a go, but
He's not scared.
no, nothing to be scared of, is there? You worry about that when you're scared.
Coming back to what we started with talking about the WSL finals here before we went into those ads jumped us into those real deep questions there, which I think was brilliant, because it's like straight away we're into some pretty unique points of view from you guys. Should we just what is the sort of verdict on it then? Is it like keep it, change it in our opinions on it? What do you reckon, Ads? Is it like keep it the way it was, change it, do it different?
I reckon they keep it. I listen to a lot of podcasts as well, especially with my commutes, and there are sort of little bits of speculation about they're going to tweak it, but I don't really know how they can. I love the idea that, I know you said, it would be a bit of a cop-out if Morgan Siblich won the event, but you imagine being that guy who's got to do, 8 heats basically to win the whole event.
It's sick, isn't it?
If that guy wins that, then
He deserves it.
No, yeah,
that
I don't
guy
think it's a
deserves
cop
it.
out. I just thought, I was just saying, I think I think there would have been more of an uproar if that happened.
Yeah, but I think if they did do that league win at the end, it'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Anyone who deals with that pressure on the day, I think deserves the trophy.
I mean, in the conclusion, from what I'm going off on a fucking tangent there, but I think it's good. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was very watchable, and I think it has some sort of engagement, because you were actually rooting for people towards the end, and there's an end result, not just Gabriel Medina could get knocked out in, I don't know, the 4th round of pipe, but he still wins, but he doesn't win pipe. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone watched that and could look away. I think it did what the WSL wanted it to do. You watched it and you were
glued,
fixed to the
Surfing's needed it as well, isn't it? Because I've watched so many comps where it's literally background while I'm doing other things, where that one day you are glued to your TV or whatever it is, and you ain't moving. You're probably texting your mate saying how good this heat is and how good that wave was, but you're just sitting there listening to Kelly Slater and Mick Fanning talk absolute.
That was
epic.
They made the show, and I think if they can top it next year, or just keep the ball rolling for the next couple of years, and I can't see them going backwards.
Do you think that devalues the rest of the year though?
No, because you still have an achievement to get top 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think I heard somewhere it's been over 20 years since Gabby and Italo were in the water. It was over 20 years since they had the last world title show off in the water happen. The world title was won in the water.
Andy Kelly, was it?
Right, yeah.
Well,
So
Gabby Italo in
2019.
So, and they went, right, that was amazing. They must have had loads of viewers.
Oh, so the idea is that
we won that every year.
Right, you've destroyed the point I was about to make then with that stat. You've done me at stats. I'm supposed to be the stat guy.
With the surf notes.
Because I was gonna say that if you look at, we're looking at they've watched other sports, the WSL have, haven't they, and thought about what they're trying to do. Right now, the NFL is in there partly as the model. In the NFL, teams joke about how you do not want to be the top team in your conference at the end of the year, because you are not going to win the Super Bowl. You're going to get beaten in the playoffs. It's and teams think only about get to the playoffs, and then if in the regular season the process of being getting to the playoffs showed you to be the best team, all that is you've had a good training run in for the important bit, the playoffs, and then you think, right, it's the playoffs, So in terms of that format, I wonder if they want to sort of put that playoff stage of the season as a bigger thing than the run into it, because it felt like all those big comps. But then if you look at another sport really successful worldwide over, we look at football, right? Not American football, just straightforward football, right? Those history-making moments in football, when like seasons get ended in the last second of the season, you know, like Michael Thomas's goal in 1990 or 1989, and Sergio Aguero scoring in the last second of the Premier League season. Aren't those moments so special because they don't come around every year? So isn't it the case that like, the fact that some years it's done before the Pipe Masters means that those years when the Pipe Masters becomes like who's going to, but then you've killed my point, because I suppose that is too rare, isn't it?
I
Like,
prefer
if it is literally
Yeah.
Andy Kelly and then it's on Medina.
But then you look at it
It's
as
too
well.
rare.
So it's all these competitions. They're really long and drawn out.
Yeah.
The only way that you could probably improve the WSL finals is probably by having more people in it,
Yeah.
which then extends the event.
Yeah.
They fit the whole event, the women's and the men's, into one single day, not like 3 days. And that's where I think people lose the viewership from watching it, is because if I've got to be engaged with something for 2 to 3 days, I'm not going to turn my telly on for a full,
It's
12
not possible,
hours each day. You're just not going to do it, which means you're going to miss certain things. So if you know that
That's the day.
the finals are going to be on at this time because it's programming to be that, or round about that time, you can watch Gabby and Philip Toledo do a 3-round, a 3-heat final off.
You'll make time for that, won't you?
Yeah, and it's more engaging.
I think I'm changing my mind live on you. You got me convinced.
You needed us.
Yeah.
I just thought did you not enjoy the day? Did you not enjoy watching it? Did you watch it and go, oh, that wasn't very good?
I did. Yeah, I thought it was amazing.
You thought it was good?
It was amazing.
Right,
I thought I was a bit frustrated they didn't pick slightly smaller trestles.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Same. The morning.
Well, at the start,
yeah.
like Steph was chattering all over
I
the
thought
place.
this is the
wasn't
worst
she?
thing ever. Yeah, I was like, oh no.
But I thought by the end it was sick.
Yeah. And I wanted Felipe Toledo to
Felipe
win a
on that
world
quad
title.
was just
I did.
mental.
He looks good.
What's happening? What are they doing next year then, Pat? What's the structure
Maybe
next
cut
year?
off?
What for the final?
For the whole thing, you were saying that they've changed this. Are they changing the format?
Changed
'Cause we
the-
were
They've
talking about
changed
Challenger
the,
Series
they've changed
thing
the
then.
tour. They've
Right.
changed the stops.
Read the stop sign.
Oh, just the stops.
Yeah, do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, go on. You pick it up on your phone while
I had it up. I got it up.
Oh, you've got it ready.
So
go on
it's Pipe, and then to Sunset, which is new.
Amazing.
So them big sort of Bells Beach good guys are going to do well at the start of the year. Portugal, then Bells, then
And
Margaret River.
Is every one of these events men and women? Both
I
times?
believe so. It is.
Yeah,
The new tour is all the same.
Yeah.
So it's Bells, then Margaret River.
Yeah.
So no snapper next year. That's a Challenger Series event now.
Okay.
Well,
That's the first Challenger Series event. There's no snapper.
That's
Probably a good chance.
so.
And then from Margaret River, they go to G-Land.
Wow.
Since isn't like Luke Egan the reigning champ or something.
Yeah,
They've
like
run it for years.
1997 Quicksilver
Yeah.
Pro, that video. Did
Yeah.
you have that one in your rack ads?
I did, yeah.
With the Prodigy on it?
Love a little bit of VHS action.
Oh, goodness
Yeah,
me.
so
What a contest. Best surf ever for any contest ever. Better surf than they had for that Mexico one, I reckon that was.
No way. So then Trestles. I don't know if they're going to go to Trestles again. I don't think they are. Then Rio, then J-Bay, then Chopes, and then the top 5 will be decided at Chopes for the finals, which is to be confirmed.
When's the mid-year cut?
I can't remember the mid-year cut is. I believe it's
After
Because
G-Land.
first half of that
Yeah,
year
I
is
think
like
it's after-
pumping
And
in
when
I
the
think
Challenger
it's
Series
after
guys get
G-Land.
promoted, yeah?
I think
No.
it's after Chiland. It's
Do they?
the top 12. It's
They
12 and up, isn't it?
Yeah, but no one goes. I think after the mid-year cut off, it just
Cuts
makes
off.
this tour
Yeah.
smaller for
Yeah.
the last half.
But
of the
no,
year.
but
one comes up.
if you're in the top 12, then you're on for 2023.
Wow.
Yes.
So you don't have to
So,
go
yeah.
on the Challenger Series.
I listen
God,
I listened to Dave Prodan's
Yeah.
Explanation of it all.
explanation of that. It blew my mind. It was too confusing, but that is what's going to happen. So that they get cut halfway through.
Yeah.
The top 12 go through, and then the guys in the bottom half or the top half of the Challenger Series then get put in for the next year's rounds.
So how many people get cut off?
So if you finish 13th on the CT at the cut-off, you have to do the Challenger Series.
Yeah,
to
you're
get
back
your
on the
berth back.
Challenger.
Yeah.
Well, so there's only 12 people on tour for the last half of the
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so you like.
Wow, that's
so
crazy,
it's like,
isn't
you
it?
know how they say the only way we can improve the tour is having a smaller tour because they can pick the more prime conditions. I think that's the idea.
I remember them doing that,
And it's
dropping
more
it
intense.
from 44 to 32.
The Bobby Martinez.
And I remember thinking at the time like that needed to happen because you would the first 2 days of an event there'd be hundreds of heats you didn't want to watch.
Yeah.
And then quite quickly I started thinking there's still hundreds of heats you don't want to watch. It's 32.
I
now,
feel like
now there's 12.
Yeah.
44 down
the
to
tour
12.
these days though, I think everyone's so good. Even like
That seems really
round
harsh.
one
Yeah.
is like you want to watch.
You're putting them on a pedestal here, guys. You're going to get there yourselves, aren't
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. For me, anyway, if David Silva's against Alex Ribeiro, I still want to
you?
watch.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well,
Oh my God.
let's go on to
Next.
this Challenger Series thing then, right? And is that working at the moment as is it getting enough entertainment? Like, have you, as I know we talked about the US Open, you didn't watch that much of the US Open, but that was because you were flying from Guam at the time.
It is. I watched a little bit of it, but I don't think Huntington's the best location to hold something like that where, you're trying to engage people to watch it as well.
Yeah.
That's the whole new format of what the WSL are trying to do, is trying to get more viewership. So if you're going to hold an event that is like the Challenger Series, you want it to be at Snapper, you want it to be at some more prime locations. Having a little bit more, mushy Huntington
It's the money
not
that
great.
would be the through Huntington,
Yeah.
wouldn't
But the
it?
problem with that, so you look at the first half, so those Challenger Series guys, they're going on to the first half of the tour, all pumping wave spots, and you've got them surfing in Huntington, then Burgery, Portugal, which isn't that pumping of a wave. It's just like, that's not setting them up to go onto the CT, in my opinion.
Well, where are the QSs that set you up to go onto
Exactly,
them then?
yeah.
Because there's no QS that's apart from...
Maybe France and Portugal.
And Morocco.
And that's
still
what
there.
I think that's what they're trying to achieve next year with a full
With
year.
Snapper.
Is Snapper and Holly Eva. Well, Holly Eva's this year, but
Yeah.
the
If they
more
go-
slight, like, and France,
That's quite a
like
good one.
better quality waves
The front, so
before.
at the time of recording, so we've got like about a 6-day turnaround on this. So there will be the France contest will be entering
16th of
into
October,
its
yeah.
business
Yeah.
end
The
when at
bank's
the time this
mental
comes
as
out,
well.
right? And that's one of the ones I worry about because I think France, you get a bad bank, a bad heat, and I think you're in trouble and you can just go out and you can just bomb out and the stakes are getting quite high. Thinking, you go to Haliwa and everyone's going to get their chance to prove it. Okay, you get low tide and the toilet bowl is draining, but it's the same for everyone. In France, you can properly get hung out to dry, especially when you've got that many heats to run. Like when they do the CTs, they can take lay days and things like that, right? So that's one that I'm a little bit worried about. But then, in terms of the Portugal one, that Ribeira Dilas, that's I was going to ask you then, Ads, did you watch more of that one?
I watched a bit of it, yeah, but again...
I'll be honest, was that because you knew we were all going to do this, or was it?
No,
or was it 'cause
I
you were
don't.
genuinely interested in?
I actually like it as a break myself. I've surfed it quite a few times. It's a pretty cool little right-hander? Right-hander, yeah.
Conor Berger, sorry. I've never had a good surfer.
But it is burgery.
Just
Hand gestures. Yeah, it is a cool little break, but it was quite meaty and it was quite mushy at points, and the fog came in as well, so it was quite difficult
It was
to
a whole
watch.
day of fog, wasn't it? Yeah.
Good final.
I thought,
especially for the women.
But there was some really good challenging conditions for the surface that made it look really easy as well.
I get to say, because Cal mentioned the ladies there, I get to say my little thing I said earlier, right? Twice in my life travelling, I've seen a grommet surfing and been blown away and known they're going somewhere. And the first time I put the diary picture on Instagram a while ago. I got my diary from 2000 in Durban, and I'm talking about an 11-year-old kid called Jordan Smith, and I'm describing his surfing. The only other time I've seen a grommet and thought, wow, was I was in Japan and I saw this little girl absolutely shredding at a Kumihama, and I was like, what, she must be going on to be one of the best surfers in the world, she must be. And then I spotted her again for the first time on the weekend because it was Shino Mastuda, the girl who got into the. I think she got to the semi-finals.
I remember seeing
there she is,
Katie Simmons in Oceanside when she was 13, and I was
not knowing who they were.
just thinking. She can't be like the normal standard. I was like, I know like most people in California are a bit better than like Llangennith locals, but she's mental, and then she just won the US Open at 15.
Yeah.
But she must have been younger then. She must have been about 11, 12.
Digressing a little bit, do you watch any of the Stab High stuff?
Yeah.
Do you watch like the Ladybirds?
Yeah, the Aaron Brooks.
Oh, they are just.
Yeah. Well, that Simmers is in that, and now she just won a Challenger Series event. She's in the Ladybirds, like the under 15s or whatever.
Have you? Did you see the footage of Sky Brown at the? Was it
Waco?
Waco.
Mental.
I mean, she was going crazy, wasn't she? I didn't even know that she could surf.
Yeah.
She's from Miyazaki in Japan, and the standard there is super high.
Yeah.
About 3 years ago, she did one of the first Stab High events at the pool at Waco, and there was her and Sierra Kerr at the very end, and they had to do 3 or 4 surf-offs because they were that close together.
Wow.
How good they were.
Yeah.
So you imagine, she's just won a bronze medal at the Olympics.
Skateboarding.
And now she wants to do.
And she wants to do both in France.
But she obviously didn't notice that would involve flying from Paris.
That's right. I said. Yeah. That's a big old trip in a few days.
It's just, wow. And at the age that she'd be then, she'd still be young. But she'd be on her front. She'd be on her front side.
Yeah, she wouldn't even be in her prime though, would she?
Yeah. What's up, Todd?
She's on my list for next year.
Oh, is she right? Oh, yeah, Sky Brat. She's been asking to come on, has she? Alongside.
Absolutely.
Alongside,
We're sacking you. There's going to be Rhino and Jenny going to do it.
She's got her own Barbie doll.
You should have a low tide Coney heat with her, Tom. I reckon you'd take her.
Oh, low tide, yeah. Yeah, well, get it stuck in the rib, innit? Like Greg Owen did to Sam Burkett that day. You and I are going for a little walk. That's a good story. Oh, sorry, you've talked. Yeah, Greg, we were just talking before you guys arrived about a legendary heat where Greg took Sam Burkett like into a rip, and they went side by side, and then Greg basically like started deliberately slowing down when he saw the set coming and let Sam think, right, I've really powered on and beaten him in this rip now, and then Greg went and got the wave. He was the heat winner, and in the car park afterwards came up to him, put his arm around him and went, "You fell for that then, didn't you, son? I said, you and I are going for a little walk." And ever since then, that's like said in the line of okay, you and I are going for a little walk. So there we are, right. Cool, right, let's have a look. We've done a deliberate fag packet. Well, it's not a fag packet.
Well, you've cut them out the same size as a fag packet, so it might as well be on the back of a fag packet.
It's the cardboard from the bottom of Ads' 99p cake from the store on the corner for his birthday.
Which was delicious.
And what have we got left?
You can fit in the Greg Owen bullet point as well.
Yeah, we've got the Greg Owen bullet point, yeah. So, that's right, 2 things left to do, right? If you want surf stories, we have got one that we do need to get told on Crest, so maybe you guys can be the can be our, and then we're gonna get Rhino's laughing. He knows what this is. As you've heard this one already, so then we can get this out to the Grumpy Surfer audiences as well. Now, right? Producer Dodd has pulled off this week, right? One of the best boobs I've ever seen, right? After getting dropped in on by a close mate last week, right, boys? And his mate was on a brand new board, right? Knocked his fin out on Dodd's board, right? So the mate was guilty, he said he was going to pay for the board. He took his board round to Dodd's house, right? And this board's got Futures fins on it, this brand new board, brand new. He's ridden 3 waves before he dropped it on Dodd and broke his fin out, right? At this point, it's still his fault. Dodd has FCS2 on his boards, right? Never seen a set of Futures in his life. Totally absent-mindedly brings the board in and goes, "Oh yeah, right. I'll take it up to Steve Charles, the ding repair guy for you, right? Yeah, no worries, right. Let me just get these fins out."
Oh, reps the box.
No. These are a bit stiff, he goes. "Here you are, mate. Chuck us a tea towel, will you, so I don't have my hand as I get this one out." And then, cracking fiberglass. 2 missing fins. A board that's been ridden 3 times.
It's classic.
Oh my god.
Did you take the box?
just defend?
Just cracked it.
Just cracked it. Anyway,
Oh,
so it's an ex-friend. That is, it's an ex-friend. Had to get that one out there while I got you guys sat on the sofa. There was our audience. I'm glad you had that reaction. Right, our last topic, I think. I've creased the cake packet / bag packet now. Is literally asking you guys specifically then about the like which events you're doing in the sort of immediate future now then, isn't it? And like when are you next off? Have you started booking things? Like how do you plan this stuff?
We're going to start booking tonight. Tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to try go in 2 weeks. There's the Azores contest, which I don't know. Is that the last one of this year's?
At the moment, yeah, 5 QS. It's a 5,000, but for the regionals, we're doing it, but I still don't really understand. I thought because of the regionals, I thought they'd all just be 1,000, but they've just got one than another. Yeah, they've just got. At the moment, well, this back half of the year, they just got 1 5,000, and the rest are 1,000.
And that'll carry over into next year's points, then, will it?
Yeah, so it's almost like a football season now. It's 2021/2022.
Right. So you boys are going. So you're booking
2 weeks,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
Flights, yeah. It's the Azores. That's the next comp, and then I'm not sure what it is after that. Okay.
And you've just got to wear whatever
March.
a flight to the Azores is going to cost now. Then that's it. Like there's no
tests,
organisations, no help, no nothing saying. Like when there's a Europeans on, they put a charter on to get people in or whatever. Like,
it's just sort yourself out, get there, hire a car.
when everyone else wants to go there and all the hotels are booked out.
Yeah, at the minute it's not looking terribly expensive, and we're going to try and make a bit of a trip out of it as well.
We're pretty good at being super tight.
What about like in inverted commas, like a training trip? Like maybe
question.
Like competitions aside, to look at something completely different, like bigger waves.
A month in Morocco, charge big surf. Go to India for a month, that kind of thing. Hawaii?
We were more thinking, in the short term, I've been looking, when I come back from Azores, to go to Ireland and surf some of them, like Big Pamper and stuff with Garage and them boys out there.
Yeah.
But that short term, for the winter, I haven't got too much plans yet.
I'd kind of have my eyes set. I would like to go back to Oz, but think Indo possibly next year. For me, just while it's like cold February time, just go do a month or something. Yeah. I gotta definitely get away at some point, get some pumping waves. Not for a comp, For me, anyway, that's my sort of.
And do you know what you're going to be going to in the new year then? After so it's the Azores and that's what it hit for 2021. Have you started? Or it is about 2 weeks before these events that you have to plan it then, is it?
No, yeah, we got confirmed in about 5 days ago, something was it?
Yeah, so it's just like right.
It's finding out if you're in first, because before it was the regional 5,000, you'd have people flying in from everywhere, and it would be really hard to get in. But now, because it's a European tour, it's kind of like everyone who was doing the 1,000. It's just the same people that are going to do the 5,000. Like no one's really missing events, so we kind of thought we'd get in, but now we're in. We got to start booking.
Oh right, okay. And then you don't know what ones are in the spring yet that you're going to?
Nothing's confirmed yet because of COVID and everything's tentative.
Right. Oh wow. Winter trip, Carl?
I'm hoping to jump on the island bandwagon, and then I'm going to try get to Morocco sometime next year if I can.
You've logged some of your special Callum tunnel time in
minutes, I think.
What are you at? You got a trip plan this winter? I haven't, so don't ask me.
Well, I think I lost on my browning points with Guam, if I'm perfectly honest. I've got a couple of competitions this week actually. I've got a jiu-jitsu comp on Wednesday, then a couple. The Navy Surf Champs is the end of this week, so.
Sick, good luck, mate.
Where's that?
Down at Penhall.
That's sick.
So it'll be down there. But I'm hoping to go to Morocco.
Ads is a multiple surf champ in one of the categories of that event.
Yeah, I got second in SUP. I've won the longboard. Don't really do that good in short.
Triple threat, mate.
Yeah. Just hit it from all angles. That's what I'm going for. If I enter them all, I've got to at least win fucking one of them.
With your jiu-jitsu, sell me on it. Does it cross over well? Because everyone seems to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
how does it cross over well, and in what wave is it? Because I know loads of surfers do it.
Yeah,
But I've never spoke to someone who's
I've
done
been
it.
reading the jiu-jitsu book as well, like been like thinking about it.
Yeah, I
as
want
well.
to do it, but I don't have the time.
So
He'll give you a little demo in a minute now if you want that. Yeah, it's just, you might not be surfing tomorrow at all.
rear naked choke demos. No, so the reason why I started doing it was I was in based in North Devon again like a few years back, and I was kind of sick of the gym sort of stuff because I've been in gyms for quite a long time now. So I wanted to do something different between each of the swells. So I know a few MMA fighters of mine and friends of mine, you know, asked them about that and said, well, try jiu-jitsu. And there was a purple belt lad that joined the unit, and he said he wanted to start something up, and that's basically how I started. And then I started getting into a little bit more, and it was just the whole dynamic of learning how the body moves, and there's lots of different ways of doing different techniques. It's just not like one set way like karate. There's like a set kata to do things, and I just got hooked from doing it because I just found it really interesting. Yeah, you get, you know, pretty pounded the first couple of years you're doing it, but that's all part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like being a grom, and
Process of learning, and
yeah, and as you get better, you see things in a different light. Again, comparing it to surfing, the better you get to see the read of, you know, how a break is breaking somewhere, or where that set's coming from, and what angle it's coming from, and depending all those conditional things and environmental factors. You know, so it does tie in really nicely with that, and that's really how I got into doing it.
Does it help you, do you think, like being calm under pressure?
Yes.
Because you're always getting attacked in jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah, so as a beginner, you do panic quite a bit because, you know, you can train with people like, you know, we could be training together, but then I could be training with Rhino, so the weight difference there is quite significant, and that feeling of
Because of how small Pat is.
Yeah. Pat's obviously bigger. Come on. But yeah, so that feeling of being trapped and suffocated, you then have to learn how to control that emotion. Yeah. So again, if you want to, you know, term it in like a surfing sort of format, you know, bigger waves, hold downs, or you know, the pressure of competition.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to get this next wave to
need a 6 in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so you know, maintaining your calmness and stillness within that period of time, to then start working your escapes to get back on top, and you know, and that's why I find it really interesting, is because I don't really see it as a crossover. I just enjoy doing both things.
Right,
You know, but I think anybody that gets into doing it, if they are consistent with training, they will really enjoy it, and that's what I do.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you because I've never actually been able to speak to someone like who does it themselves, but that's cool.
One question, sorry. Would you miss a good surf for training if you...
No.
You wouldn't,
miss it? That's a good question.
So my whole thing throughout this whole... So I've been training, nearly 9 years now. My whole thing has always been, if there's a good swell running, I don't train, or I try and do both, which is a nightmare.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it absolutely ruins you, especially if the swell's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wouldn't miss a surf just to go training. But yeah, trips, potentially go to Morocco, March, April, maybe my last trip, but I don't think that's going to come off. And I'm hoping I've got a Indo boat trip penciled in for September next year. Yeah, that's not confirmed, but I'm like, please let it happen.
Mentalities or?
Maybe. I'm not sure yet. So I did a podcast with the guys from Green Overhead, and the guy John Jameson runs
Sharp Eye Boys.
Yes.
He always does the boat trips, and he like organises them.
He organises them. Yeah. I've been trying to like.
Is he going to bring a couple of sharp eyes?
I don't know. He keeps trying to get me to buy one. I was like that. I don't really want. Yeah. I'm not going to go into board shapes and shit like that. But
they're the boards these days, the sharp eyes.
Yeah, I saw someone on one yesterday down here. They've started to show up in Wales now.
Yeah, for sure.
See, there's Brazilians get everywhere, don't they?
Yeah, I like my surfboards handmade by a fella that I go surfing with on a day-to-day basis. Like to me, it's gonna. There's until the fella who does that for me, my dear friend Luke Young, isn't making them anymore, I'm the only thing I'd ever do with a good surfboard off the rack would be have a quick look at it and then take some photos.
But do you feel like you're like
making something similar?
Do you feel like you've got the blinkers on and they're like? I rode one brand for ages and I changed and it was just like, oh my god, there's a whole new world of fun.
I believe in
Magic.
the person, someone knowing my surfing, making the right board for me.
Yeah, but he might not have the view of your surfing that the other guy might have.
Well, Sharp Eye's not seen me surf.
But he might have seen your might have seen our standard as surfing and gone, this is the board for that standard.
This is my interpretation.
And if it's a successful one, sooner or later, Luke will spot what's going on and make his own model that's slightly more adapted.
I just think there's more fun. There's different. You can write different interpretations.
Come and have a look in the garage before you go. I got big glossed.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like each shaper's got their own take on surfing and
he shaped me one of the best boards I've ever ridden, and I've got another one being shaped by him now.
No, for sure. I think I've heard he's a really good shape. I'm just saying
I get what you're saying because a lot
you ride
of
a
the top
Mayhem
guys,
and you ride a JS, they feel
different.
But saying that, one of the best shortboards I've ever ridden was a Firewire Cymatic slated design.
Exactly, and that's completely different to
amazing.
Luke.
But
best shortboard I've ever had was a Surf Prescriptions Doc Lausch Brad Gerlach's on board, and I got to talk to him.
I've met him
earlier this year.
I met him in Newport.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
He tried to get me to come to the factory. I think he was trying to sell me a board.
Me and Rhino met him too earlier this year, and Hans did as well. Yeah.
No way.
Anyway, now speaking of episodes previous and future, ads, we're gonna. I want to say with Crest, we want to get you as ads Lison to sort of come back once you've finished your 22 years, which is not that far out now, is it? It's sometime next spring.
6 months, yeah.
So ads, you're gonna sit down with Rhino and I, and we're gonna probe your life story out of you.
I'd like to listen to that.
I'm gonna make you cry.
So we can't wait. And then in terms of you mentioned you were talking about I'm going to try and do a literary link here. Now I was thinking of it, I scribbled it on the cake packet. You were talking about jiu-jitsu as a crossover. So in terms of crossovers, this three-way crossover between the Grumpy Surfer, Crest in partnership with Elusive, and the Pagans has been a real pleasure to be involved in. So I'd like to thank you guys massively for your time, and it's been a real pleasure to have you down in Wales for a flying visit today, Alex.
Up in Wales.
I tell you what,
in Wales,
you're lucky you haven't cracked on with Welsh jokes. Hot dogs for tea, boys, and all that. Love a bit of Twin Towns even now.
Thanks for having us, mate.
Pleasure.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Any chance to chat shit about surfing?
Cheers, boys.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.